Oxford Premium Adventure heated grips. So yeah, this morning I'm going to be kind of like super lazy because I'm not even going to get off my bike here, but as I am waiting for a couple of my buddies here to arrive so we can all go riding, we're actually fairly lucky today because it is going to get a fairly warm day. However, there has been many mornings that I've been going out riding around on the Tenere 700 and the temperatures are quite cold. There are quite a few companies out there that do offer heated grips, including Yamaha itself. For the past couple of years I've always been using those ones. However, as of this year for the Tenere 700 I decided to go with the Oxford grips. Why? Because I've seen a couple of these grips being used on my friends' bikes, and the temperature settings and the warmth of the grips that are provided are just absolutely fantastic. I find that they get super hot, no more than I would have to actually use 50%. So this is literally a direct setup for the Tenere 700, even though that the Oxford grips are a universal system that is plugged into the battery. There are many options that you guys can do for your own bikes, whether it be the Tenere or any other bike. All bikes are going to be slightly different, so you will have to do a little bit of research. In regards to the actual grip itself, this is the Adventure grips, the Premium Adventure grips. What is the difference between the Premium, the Sport, and the Cruiser is not just the actual grip pattern and the gumminess of the grip, but it's going to be also in regards to the length. As you can see here, that actually almost fills up the whole grip pattern, because the actual grips on the Tenere or most adventure bikes are much wider or longer than any of the other sport bike applications out there. So if you are going with the original Yamaha grips, you can actually buy the heated grips, and then there's an adapter ring that you can actually apply onto it, whereas these do not require that because it is already built into the actual body itself. It is actually fairly simple to route. It's basically 3 wires that you're connecting up to the control panel here. The control panel does come with a plate, and it is fairly universal. Does come with hardware as well, and then some spacers, so you actually can adapt it to almost pretty much anything that you need. It is very simple. The actual control panel itself is a smart or an intelligent heat control panel, so even if you are plugged up to your battery and you leave it on, in a matter of a short few minutes of no movement, it senses that it's not being used, it will automatically shut off. Anyways, you can get into the specs by going to the actual website here and figure out what it is all about. If you cannot use the plate itself, I'm sure just the double-sided tape or the adhesive backing could be applied to a body panel if you have a full sport bike fairing. The throttle side, again, it is a bigger throttle tube, right? You would actually be removing the original grips that are on your bike, and then you would just simply be replacing them with the grips that are here. Again, it is a fairly simple procedure, very easy. You have a choice by either installing it onto your battery with the terminals, and it is fused as well. In regards to the Tenere 700, we do have a couple of auxiliary connectors here that are used for actual accessories from Yamaha. So basically what it is I took a connector and I spliced it into the actual harness of the Oxford, made a clean factory connection. So now what I'm basically using is the ignition system. So this way, even if I do leave it on, the second I turn my ignition off, it will shut it off automatically. So I know that nobody can come by and push on the power buttons, even if I'm not around the bike, just to kind of help train the battery. But again, this is an intelligent system, so it does recognize that if the battery does fall below 10 volts, it will not allow itself to go on, because it still will reserve enough power for the motorcycle to actually at least physically start up. In regards to how to adhere the grips to the handlebars, there has been a lot of hiccups out there, and a lot of people have been asking all different kinds of questions, and I can only suggest one glue and one glue only in order to do so. It would be the original Gorilla Glue, that light brown colored glue, not the wood glue, not the crazy glue or the super glue, whatever you want to call it. This is the original Gorilla Glue. Why? Because it is a super tacky, super strong holding glue, but then it expands, right? So when you do get it in there, do make sure, take a couple of minutes and actually clean it up, because otherwise you'll see it's going to kind of foam up and expand. Here's kind of like a little example, but once it's adhered, it will not come off. A lot of times, especially if you're using temperature above 50%, a lot of times with the glue that is supplied from Oxford, does break loose. I've tried a couple of different even grip glues and specialty glues, and they just don't last. Unfortunately, they just don't adhere hard enough. Whereas the Gorilla Glue is by far, I would say, the only one I can recommend, and so far the one that has lasted me the longest. It is super easy to do. Again, just put it in there, and then once you do, at least leave it a good 24 hours for it to set and forget, right? So other than that, it's a absolutely fantastic system. I hardly ever go above 50%. Actually, I've never gone above 50%. For the most time, I'm using it at 40%, and that's still only when it's like 10 degrees outside. So they are hot. They are absolutely fantastic. What's super nice is you can just dial it up in heat, and then you can dial it down in heat. A lot of companies out there that offer heated grips, you only have one-way setting. It's a single push button setting, right? So it would go, let's say, from 20, 50 to 100%, right? So if you wanted 50%, you'd go 1, 2, and then if you need back down to 25, you'd have to go all the way back up to 100, reset itself, and then back start at the 0. Whereas this one here, you actually can control what you need. So I absolutely love these grips. Very comfortable, very functional. Again, just use that Gorilla Glue grip. Yeah, and then you'll be super duper happy. So Tenere 700 Oxford heated grips. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully this has provided you a little bit of answers and a direction as to what I like to use in regards to the heated grips for the Tenere. Cheers, be good, be safe, have fun. Don't forget, keep it covered, guys. Bye.